Hello YouTube, welcome to the masterclasses for the YouTube Symphony Orchestra. My name's Neil Percy, and as you can see I have some rather exotic instruments here that are from automobiles. But the fantastic Tandon has written his Internet Symphony and he's actually using these instruments. So I'm going to play a few things from the very opening of the piece and hopefully you'll be able to play along too. So as you see, we actually have some brake gongs here that are wheel rims. And if we go to bar 4 of the piece, the second half of the bar, we have something like this. We can hear that ringing on. At the same time that that's happening, we have another player who's playing what are effectively brake discs from your everyday automobile. They're playing pretty much the same rhythmic figure. Here we go. Bar 4, second half of the bar. So there you have it. These two wonderfully exotic instruments playing at the same time. I guess you could get any piece of metal as long as you can get it roughly to the same pitch and play along with this. I hope you do and have some fun. So we've had those incredibly exotic instruments and now we have a more conventional instrument that you might see in your everyday percussion section. This is a marimba, and all marimbas are made from wood. The notes are wooden. So at the same time that we just heard the car parts there, the marimba's got this figure. So you can see that they're roughly playing in unison. When you play in unison, it means that all the parts play the same line. A little bit later on in the second half of the piece, we've got this rather famous tune. So if it is that you don't actually have a marimba, but you still want to play along, you could probably do it on a xylophone, which is a smaller instrument and something that your school band might own. Maybe just use soft sticks though, and it will sound really good. So we've changed instruments again. Here we are with the vibraphone, which is one of my favourite instruments. As you can see, it looks a little bit like the marimba, but this time the notes are made of metal. So they're able to ring a little bit more, and you get a beautiful sustaining sound. And it'll ring all by itself. Now when you play the vibraphone with the marimba, it makes a really nice sound, makes a really nice, beautiful ringing sound. So again at the beginning, the vibraphone plays in unison with the marimba and the automobile parts we heard earlier on. It's the same figure, second half of bar 4. Now again, once you've downloaded the parts, you YouTubers, what you'll be able to do is, if you don't have a vibraphone, maybe you might want to use a glockenspiel. Lots of school bands and orchestras and things like that will definitely have a glockenspiel. So definitely play the vibe part on the glockenspiel. It'll work really well. Later on in the piece, the second half, again, in unison with the marimba, it plays that well-known tune. So, to the audition piece, and it'd be really fantastic if you can upload your videos to show me how you play the next piece we're going to talk about. And it's the last movement of a very famous piece by Rimsky-Korsakov called Scheherazade. Now, we actually played this piece last night over at the Barbican Centre with the London Symphony Orchestra. Now, it's a very famous test piece, very famous audition piece, and I just wanted to speak about the last movement in particular. Now the thing for me is that what you have to do is play a supporting role to the trumpets, because a lot of the material that you have actually supports the trumpet. So if we go to letter C, we have this figure. Now, at the same time as us playing that, the trumpets are playing this. You can hear that triplet figure really distinctly. Dum da 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 dum da 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 dum da 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 dum ba dum ba dum. So our actual snare drum part actually just underpins that. And I think the most important thing is to think in triplets. So therefore, in the roll, I'm actually playing a triplet hand speed roll. So I'm playing this. So that everything should fit together. I'll just play it again. A little bit later on, we've got a sforzando piano roll. Now, I see a lot of young players, when they go from very loud to very quiet, the hands stop working, and we sometimes get things like this happening. And nothing actually happens. The most important thing with sforzando piano roll is to keep the hands moving. And I promise you it'll sound good. Something like this. Okay, so I'll just play the sforzando piano roll again. Keep the hands moving when you go into the piano section. Now again, in those rolls, I'm actually putting quite a lot into the drum. I think one of the most important things about whatever instrument you play is to have an idea of the sound you want to make before you actually play it. If there's a sound in your head, very often you can recreate that sound. If there's actually nothing in your head at all before you play, it can be very difficult to actually come in with a sound that you want to make. So, listen to lots of records, go and hear your favourite players play. Once you've come up with a sound that you really like, try and emulate it. It's getting that sound in your head. I think it's really, really important. And again, it's understanding where you might want the snare drum to fit in the balance of the orchestra. It's very easy for the snare drum to dominate because it is such a dominating instrument. But for me, I think it's more about blending, particularly when you're with 80, 85, 90 fellow musicians. It can't always dominate. Sometimes, and very, very much of the time, it has to blend. Now, if we move on to, I believe it's letter P, we've got this figure. Now, again, that is supposed to blend with the rest of the orchestra. Everybody else is playing that rhythmic figure. But with those drags, as you know, that little rhythmic thing is called a drag. It's two notes followed by the main note. It's sort of two grace notes followed by the main note. And we really need to hear those two notes. We don't want it to be sloppy like this. We want to hear those two notes. So make sure when you're practicing that you can always hear those two notes. Rimsky-Korsakov was incredibly specific about making sure that whether it's two notes, three notes, four notes, all of those things must be observed. And remember, lots of Russian composers after Rimsky-Korsakov, like Stravinsky, Prokofiev, Shostakovich, they all followed that dictum as well. Really, really important that you get that. So just make sure you can really hear those two notes. That's really it. That was all I wanted to talk about on Scheherazade today. Please, please upload your videos. It'd be really interesting for me to see how you play and all of your ideas with this fantastic piece of music. So again, upload those videos. I'll really be looking forward to having a good old look at them. And remember, enjoy your music making. Bye for now.